Good morning and welcome to Cooks and Cars. Hi, I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Adam Merlin and episode number 10. Thank you for joining us this week. We do appreciate it each and every week. And you can follow us online, cooksandcars.com, and also find our social media outlets there, which is going to be at Cooks and Cars. Doesn't matter if it's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That's where you're going to be able to find us, again, at Cooks and Cars. Appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. Got a busy show going on today because we got some big guests coming up. I got Paul on the grill with his daughter, little Jules, on the grill. They're from BG Team Green. We'll be talking to them here in a little bit. We also have Bruce Piefke. He's going to be joining us, the CEO of Caffeine and Octane. And you got a little something going on out there, which is the big car show tomorrow here in the Atlanta area. So talk about that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Usually there's 4 times a year they do Caffeine and Exotics event where we're one of the name sponsors. But this week at Caffeine and Octane, there's a classic exotic section that Merlin Auto Group is going to be sponsoring. We're a terrific partner with Caffeine and Octane. Bruce is just a one-of-a-kind kind of guy. His daughter actually taught my son how to swim.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, that was the connection, you know. So thank goodness for having children, right? No, so it's going to be great. Usually,
whatever it takes to network, right?
Look, whatever it takes to sell a car. I mean, my wife says all the time, if you're selling cars, you're a happy guy. If you're not selling cars, you're a miserable guy. It's pretty easy, right? So, but no, Bruce is great. And what he's done with Caffeine and Octane and turned it into an institution that, 20,000 people go out to Perimeter Mall here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, it's awesome.
The TV show on NBC Sports, which is really, I mean, it's a great TV show. Forget about the fact that, Bruce is a friend of mine and I want to watch to support him. I enjoy it.
You know where I thought you were going with that?
What?
I've hosted the show before.
I have. Yes, I have. Well, I mean, everybody knows that.
Right. My bad.
I mean, come on,
Mind if I get an autograph?
Yeah, maybe later. Anyway. So it'll be exciting. So we'll talk, because COVID's really been a tough thing. If you're in the event business, Caffeine and Octane is opening a restaurant garage here in Sandy Springs, which has been pushed back a little bit because of COVID. But all of us, Sandy Springs car people were pretty excited to have a new home away from home. So we'll talk to Bruce about all that stuff. He's excited to come on, and we look forward to it. So,
and it's always on my way home from. I obviously work here at the Big Green Egg, but on my way home, I pass where the restaurant's going to be. But I also pass Cartoons, and I'm driving along one day, and I see the license plate from Emron. So I pull up next to him, and then he gets on it a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
And then he gets up where you go up Atlanta Street in Roswell, and there's 2 Mr. Magoo's driving. He gets stuck behind her. So I call him. I said, "Going nowhere fast, are we?"
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, he got a good kick out of that.
That's pretty funny.
He's I think he was on episode number 8. So if you want to watch him, he talked all about putting stereos in cars and customizing them on that aspect. So you can check that out as well. But right now we're going to bring on our next guest. Oh, real quick, at the end of the show, I might have a surprise. We may have an ex-Buccaneer player join us who's still a radio guy in Tampa. Join us to talk about the big game being there this weekend. And it's kind of cool for those guys, right? It's a home game. Tom Brady comes into Tampa and, he looks like a superhero.
I was actually surprised. We had Ricky Taylor on last week, and then obviously, his team, Acura and Wayne Taylor Racing, won the overall at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. And, that was obviously because he was on our show.
I'm going to give you a little history here.
First, so I was shy. I thought we'd have Tom Brady on the show today,
so he can
figuring that, if he wanted to win the Super Bowl. But, I reached out to his people. They didn't call my people back.
Hey, there's something funny with Ricky and Jordan both. So every time they're on my show, this goes back in my race day on Fox days when I was on Fox Sports Radio and doing all that. The next race they ran, they won. Every single time. I texted his people and said, the tradition continues.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
It didn't work out for Juan Pablo, but we'll work on that one.
Juan Pablo was a little relaxed, watching Chips. Maybe he needs to pick a better movie next time.
Little motivation. All right, we're going to bring on our next guest. Big Paul and little Jules joins us. Hey, guys, welcome to the program. And from Team Big Green Egg and BGE Team Green, we appreciate you guys coming on with us this this morning. And busy weekend, you got the family, you got the big game going on. I know your team's not in it, but that's okay. You're still going to enjoy it, no doubt, right?
Absolutely. Listen, I'm just trying to figure out what competitions we should start entering now following our appearance on the show today.
That's right, because you could win.
Right.
That's right. You need to figure that out, and then you'll be able to, look like a superhero after that. Hey, so I want to talk about some of the cooks you got going on today. So for tomorrow and all that great stuff, because I know you probably got, you and Jules, probably more Jules has got the recipe and the menu all set up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically, right, when the world is where it should be and we're not in a crazy COVID environment, we have a tremendous large Greek family on my wife's side. And so everybody usually winds up here and we watch the game, and Jules and I wind up preparing food for everybody. Now this is going to be more of it for us, right? So, I mean, I think probably since the first time we ever did wings on an egg, we've never ordered wings again to bring back into the house for the Super Bowl. And then, we experiment with things like the smoked Chex Mix and whatever it is, pizzas. I mean, we just throw a ton of stuff on. And it's like, I think the influence of my wife and her Greek family, where it's always been this family style of eating, even when we have holidays and large meals. So yeah, we'll just throw a ton of stuff on there. We still have to go uncover the eggs, unbury the eggs, I should say.
Yeah,
30 inches of snow we got last week, and we've got 8 more inches coming tomorrow.
How many eggs do y'all have?
Oh, he's got a ton. Look at his backyard.
Good gracious.
We've got 4 eggs. So we've got 2 extra larges, a large, and then 2 years ago for Christmas, this one over here asked me for a mini max for Christmas. And
wow.
We've got enough eggs, Jules. We don't need a mini max. And then she says, well, can I have a boyfriend? So
good call. Good call. I would vote for that too.
Hey, Jules, remember that when it's time to get a car.
I was about to say, right.
Listen, we're in the car business too, and I've seen some of those things, Adam, on your lot. So, for my midlife crisis, I'm taking her shopping to your place for one of those shiny red Ferraris.
There you go.
Come on. That'll work.
Hey, so talk about some of those recipes. You talked about the Chex Mix, and literally you're taking Chex Mix, throwing them in a cast iron pan. And what do you do to prepare that?
I mean, it's one of the things that's just so super easy, super fast. And you can take something, Chex Mix, pretzels, peanuts, anything, throw it into a pan, experiment with your favorite barbecue rub and your favorite smoke combination and, the type of wood. And we just throw it on indirect at 250 for like 20 minutes, a half hour. And just, it takes any snack that you throw in there to a whole new level. So, it's just something that we just love to snack and munch on. And we don't ever really do it the same way twice. So we'll try all different rubs and all different wood combinations, and they all wind up coming out fantastic.
Yeah.
Jules, what's your favorite thing to cook on the egg?
Oh, I don't have a question.
My favorite is paella.
Yep. Really?
Paella. I don't know how many 10-year-olds will answer paella to that question, but
wow,
not very many.
Wow. It's what I say all the time, when I got an egg very recently, so I have no idea what I'm doing with it, that it's like a family event. Because my 9-year-old son loves to, I say cook with me on the egg, but all he really likes to do is like make the fire, right? That's the fun part, is the torch and the fire. And, he likes it when it gets out of control and all that stuff. The cooking part is not really his interest. So I think it's pretty cool that you and Jules, that Jules is into the cooking part too.
And she's very into the fire part as well. But
that's good.
Tom, what do you do when you light the egg?
Well, I get to Dad's big grill gun. Sometimes he lets me. Sometimes I have to use a little one. But
what do you yell when you light it?
That's right.
When you yell,
must, absolutely must say, fire in the hole.
I love it.
That way, Dark Side of the Grill gets his $10. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Uncle Mel over there again.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Tell us about the wings. That's one of my favorite things. We had a show where we featured wings, right?
Yeah. And he was a little confused. He was talking about how you want to get them crispy, but you don't want to burn them. And then when do you add the sauce? How do you prepare? And that's a big thing with, Adam learning this, is that he wants to know ahead of time, because we all talk about, okay, you do this, you throw it on this temperature, indirect, blah, 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 and you enjoy it. But what do you do before the fact? You thawing these things out? What are you adding to them? That kind of thing.
So it's cool because for our family, everybody likes their wings different, right? And that's why it's so much easier not only do they taste better, but it's easier to prepare them when you're doing it yourself at home on the egg, right? So typically we'll go indirect on them, but beforehand we'll take them out. I try, if we've got the time and I remember, I try to take them out of the fridge the night before. Take them out and unwrap them and leave them uncovered in the fridge the night before. And that will help the skin to dry out and get some of that moisture off of there, which is just going to help it to get super crispy.
Now, are they frozen? These are frozen wings?
No, not always frozen. Oh. Sometimes they are. I think during COVID, we went with more frozen wings than we ever have before, just because we were getting deliveries from everywhere.
Right.
And I bought an extra freezer. But we'll take, fresh wings and uncover them. We've experimented with things like cornstarch or dry brines, and it all works and you can find the right combination. But for us, Jules doesn't like spicy, so she doesn't like to put a lot of hot seasoning on it. My other daughter, Edie, loves as hot as you can get it, extra spicy. So we'll make our own hot sauce, usually the big green egg habanero sauce mixed with a little butter, salt, pepper, and garlic. And that is just,
Now, we've had this on the show before. When you say a little butter, you're not putting the whole stick of butter. Everybody does that. Oh, yeah, you put a little butter in there, and then you see this giant stick of butter in the pan.
Mo butter, mo better. Rob.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, I think that's true. That's part of why my food never tastes that good. I don't ever do that.
Hey, I noticed, Jules, you sent a video along that had you doing a cowboy steak. So talk about that. You do it caveman style. You throw it right in the coals.
Yes, it was very fun for me because I just like sitting there for like a 10-year-old, just being able to throw something into fire. That's really fun. So I was also scared really at first because I actually thought that the embers would come up and hurt me. But I just threw it in there and I had so much fun while doing it. It took a few tries though at first, but I got it in there and I was really happy.
How'd it taste?
It's really good afterwards.
Yeah.
The charcoal though would like mess up the flavor, but it never did. It just tasted so much better.
Doesn't stick, and I know we've seen a couple people talk about it. I think Titletown Griller was on talking about doing a lot of the caveman sear stuff a couple of weeks ago, Chris Shem, and for some of these larger cuts of meat for a tomahawk, that's kind of the only way that we go now. And but if I'm going to go throw a tomahawk on, Jules wants to be right there so she can be the one to take the giant bone and throw it right into the fire.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, talk about, obviously you have kids and they're always around the eggs. And, that's one thing we never talk about because sometimes the height of a child is right by where the opening of the egg. When you open it, we always tell people to burp it. And what is burping is when you slowly open it about an inch or two, and then you'll go back down a little bit and then bring it back up. It's a safety thing. So talk about, how you, work with kids around the eggs and then teach them how to do all this.
Yeah, for us, what I try to explain to Juliet, and I've got a ton of nieces and nephews that are always here around the fire when we're cooking, right? It's fire, and you have to respect it, and it can hurt you, and especially when we're firing up, when we fire up the egg, similar to Mel, we've got a giant torch that lights these things up, and because we want to get it going up as hot and fast as we possibly can. Some of the things I always stress to Juliet is she wants to run outside and light the egg in a pair of sandals and flip-flops. I'm like, closed-toe shoes near the egg when you light it up, not a good idea. But she knows how to set it up and have the gloves on and maintain distance. And when I tell her to burp it, she normally lets out a belch, but
takes after dad.
But that's what it is. And it's if you teach them, right? My whole thing with Juliet was this was a bonding experience for us to learn how to cook together. And it's something that we enjoy doing and we have a blast and we spend time doing it together. But we always stress that it's got to be done safely, because especially for a kid at a young age, to open that up or to have a hot ember fall on your foot, I don't want to ruin her love of cooking and her love of wanting to be out there and spending that time with me doing it. So a lot of times she reminds me of some of the safety measures that we've got to take, staying away, using the gloves, burping the egg. She'll remind me from time to time.
Use the oil safely.
Use the oil safely. We did a wok cook where we did oil frying over a live fire. And the first time that was a little bit sketchy and dangerous.
And the popcorn too. It popped everywhere and I was so scared that the oil would just come out with the popcorn and whoosh.
Yeah. So we experiment. Jules wanted to do popcorn in the wok on the egg. What we failed to realize is there's no cover on the wok, and you can't really close the egg because the popcorn's just going to fly everywhere. So half of it wound up all over the yard as it was exploding out of the egg, but it was still.
You got to do like the old version, the tin foil. Put the tin foil over there and let that pop up like that, like they used to do on the stoves. Hey, got a question coming in from C Mac. He would like to know, what is Jules' favorite thing to cook on her Mini Max?
Well, I can't fit pie on my Mini Max, so probably it would be pulled pork on my Mini
Pulled
Max.
pork?
Yes, because you could fit that in there.
She puts
And a lot of people.
pork butt in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people think, oh, you can't cook such a big piece of meat. You can. You'll fit a few pounds on there, and that thing will cook just like the large, the extra large, all the other vessels will as well.
She's always on hot dog duty when we're outside, so she fires that thing up. And you've done hot dogs, you've done shishito peppers on there.
Oh, I love the shishito peppers. The surprise is you never know if they're spicy, and you never know if they're not. So if you take a bite of one, you could be burning in flames and tears, or you could be enjoying a nice snack.
Pepper roulette.
Hey, real quick, I'm looking at your shirt. Pauly Strong obviously means a lot. I want you to talk about that side because you guys have been through a lot, and this is a foundation of yours, and I want you to talk about that and explain what happened there.
Sure, I appreciate that. So, cooking for us, right, has become super therapeutic. We lost our son. He was 10 years old. 5 years ago this past January, to a rare cancer out of nowhere. He was diagnosed in October of 2015 with a rare childhood cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma, which is a cancer of the soft muscle tissue. Was prescribed 54 weeks of chemotherapy and radiation, and unfortunately passed away 2.5 months into that treatment. And out of nowhere. And the Father's Day prior to Pauly being diagnosed, he picked out our first big green egg and picked out an extra large big green egg and helped me build a stone table that egg still sits in today. And it's hard. I mean, it's to have, he was the same age as Juliet is now. And so for us, we didn't know anything about the lack of funding for childhood cancer. We didn't even realize that kids could get cancer. So, Paul, when he first got sick, started a mission to sell T-shirts to raise money for his doctors at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York City to help with treatments. And he designed these Pauly Strong shirts. They were designed as some of you guys know, Pauly was a diehard Niners fan like me.
Yeah.
And this was the same year that the Niners' new Color Rush uniforms came out in black and red. So this was his design. His goal was to sell 100 shirts. And before he passed away, we had just hit that goal, and now there's thousands of these shirts out in the wild. But we decided to take that mission and turn it into the Pauly Strong Foundation, where we partner with Sloan Kettering, who is also in partnership with other children's cancer hospitals all over the world in conducting research, much needed research for childhood cancer, because childhood cancer research gets less than 4% of all cancer research funding. So foundations like ours help to bridge that gap. And to date, we've raised about $1.5 million.
That's awesome.
5 years. So that's why you'll see on our eggs, we've got, Pauly Strong on our handles. I typically have the shirt and hat as does Jules a lot of the times. And for us, it's about awareness and creating awareness for the need for childhood cancer research. So many of us have kids, and, it's tough.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And hey, my hat's off to you. $1 million to, pediatric cancers. It's
$1.5
huge.
million. I'm on the thing now. It's almost $1.5 million.
That's
the good news is
awesome.
I'm on here shopping, so you're about to get a pretty big order from Merlin Auto Group. So just know that. So, absolutely.
All right. And, obviously we're cooks and cars. We do talk about cars. You're kind of in the car business too.
Yeah, a little bit. So I work for a digital marketing agency who we partner with just about every manufacturer out there. I focus on one customer, one German automaker with 3 letters, and I work out of their marketing department. And it's been
AMG.
go down a letter.
Gotcha.
And for us, we're all about trying to help car dealers, right, and manufacturers to increase their online presence, optimize their online presence, if you will, right? And so that has been probably through COVID more important now than it ever has been before. So helping these manufacturers and helping these dealers with optimizing their websites and their search engine presence and their social media, and making sure that, right now and over the past year, the dealer's online presence has really been the first impression that most consumers get for that dealer, because they're not going into dealerships as often as they were.
Mhm.
So yeah, we've been doing this. I've been part of this for the last 10 years in the auto industry. And it's been an amazing ride.
And you had a little connection with our last guest, Juan Pablo Montoya, because the last time you were here, you went to the Petit Le Mans, and then you came over to Oktoberfest.
I did. That was probably, one of the most exciting days of my entire life. It just so happened to be that, we were having a company meeting that was taking place at Petit Le Mans. So I had to go out there with the company and got to sit in the pit and watch the race. And I mean, it was absolutely incredible. Later on, a few months later, when I posted the video of Juliet throwing the tomahawk steak into the coals, out of nowhere, Juan Pablo Montoya commented on it and started following us. So
that's awesome.
It was incredible. And I told him I've watched him race. And, when about a month or so after Paulie passed away, when the Rolex 24 was going on, we actually had the Paulie Strong logo on the front end of 2 cars that were racing at the Rolex 24. Unfortunately, one of them totaled in the middle of the night, but the silver lining to that is they gave me the front end of that car and that bumper, and it hangs up in my garage right now.
That's
big.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, man, before we head out, I know you we're doing a giveaway, and the giveaway, you're going to announce your winner today, because I think it's an Egg Genius, a wok. What else did you give away in that thing?
So yeah, it's funny. We started our account on Instagram, Big Paul on the Grill, Little Jules on the Grill, about a year and a half ago. What I found out, I was doing a lot of grilling and a lot of cooking, as I said, therapeutically, and posting it on the Paulie Strong Instagram page.
Yep.
And I quickly realized that page, while I wanted the focus to stay childhood cancer research, we needed to start a new account. So we started Big Paul and Little Jules about a year and a half ago. And the response and the ride has been so amazing. So we hit 10,000 followers about 2 weeks ago, and it's already up to 11,000 as of this morning. So we reached out.
Yeah, I've had mine for 9 years. I got 1,000 followers. I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong.
We'll see if we can help you out, Ron.
Works at a digital marketing agency. That's the first advantage.
We'll work a trade. Don't worry, we'll work the trade.
Hey, I'm in. We could use some of that. Maybe Ferrari in your future, little barter opportunity.
I've seen some of the red ones that you've posted, and those were like the posters that were hanging on my wall when I was a kid.
Yep, that's
one of those.
Yep,
So
yep.
the giveaway, we've got the Egg Genius, the wok, the expander kit, some grill mitts, a Dutch oven, Trumpo King, a cutting board from Shane's Hardwood Store, which is an amazing guy who does this custom cutting board work. PS Seasonings gave us a kit of their rubs that we use and their grinder kit, a gift certificate for $100 to Crooked Butcher for meat. And then we've partnered with a company that manufactures temp gauges for grills that have the Paulie Strong logo on them in the childhood cancer ribbon. So we're throwing one of those in there also.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to go right in and do our giveaway live. We said we'd do it live and random. So we've got about 1,300 people participating.
Okay.
And we'll just let Jules hit the start giveaway button right there.
All right. We're doing it literally live on the show today.
Live on the show.
See whose name pops up.
Record screen so we can record it. All right.
Rob D'Amico, Rob D'Amico, Rob D'Amico.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop.
Big money. Who gets it?
S-Strick46.
Okay.
Strick46. So we're going to go through and do our homework and make sure that they're following the accounts that they need to be following, and we'll be good. So congratulations to S-Strick46.
Awesome.
Epic giveaway.
Okay. How do everybody follow you out there? Give us your handles and all that.
Sure. So we're Big Paul on the Grill and
Little Jules on the Grill. Check me out on Instagram.
oh boy, she's always taking
Oh, wow.
She's got it down.
We're also on YouTube at Big Paul on the Grill, though Jules pretty much takes over the show there as well. And then also, obviously, at Pauly Strong for the Pauly Strong Foundation and paulystrong.org.
Okay. Hey, we appreciate you guys coming on. Jules, no boyfriends. You stay away. You got that?
Okay.
All right.
This is the only man.
There you go.
Every daddy's dream. Every daddy's dream right there.
Make sure we're recording this so I have this in another
That's right. That's right. Be great at her wedding, on the wedding video.
The first boyfriend she brings over, I don't forget about the shotgun and the rocking chair. I'm going to have the grill torch ready to go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Have a great show,
All
guys.
right. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. See ya.
All right, great stuff here. We're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to have Bruce Piefke. He's going to be joining us from the CEO of Caffeine, and Octane is going to be joining us. So stick around. We'll be back right after a break. This is Cooks and Cars. There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated, where grilling traditions and new techniques are perfected. Here in Big Green Egg Country, you can grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Simple to light, easy to use, comes with a free lifetime warranty. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Shop online for home delivery at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com.
Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group, and over the past 12 years, we've been successful at building our business with the undying focus of taking the pain points out of what normally is a miserable process, which is buying an automobile. And it was on this mindset that about 2 years ago, we launched our service department. Because let's face it, the only thing that's potentially negative about owning these exotics or ultra luxury cars is the fact that you have to service them, is the fact that they stand the chance of possibly breaking and you don't know what's wrong. It's the fear of the unknown that we as the consumer sometimes are really nervous about before we go and buy that Ferrari, before we go and buy that Aston Martin. And that's the reason we started Merlin Auto Group Service Department. We went out and got factory-trained, certified technicians for Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche to make sure that you had somebody that you can rely on to help you manage your automotive investment and make sure that the right things were getting fixed, they were getting fixed the right way by people who knew how to fix them and were willing to take the time, answer your questions, and make sure that you were satisfied and you understood what was going on. If you're looking for a shop where you can get an appointment easily, where we'll answer the phone, where you can talk to the technician, where we genuinely care about your problem and truly want to help you solve it and be your partner in your automotive ownership experience, you need to give us a chance here at Merlin Auto Group.
Welcome back to Cooks and Cars. Rob D'Amico with Adam Merlin, and you can find us at cooksandcars.com. Interact with us. You can do so on our Facebook and YouTube pages. So that's why we built the shows for the fans out there and who are interested in cooking on and grilling. And it doesn't have to be a Big Green Egg. I know we talk about Big Green Egg a lot because I don't know, maybe I work there. And then we talk about exotic cars, but it doesn't have to be. If you got questions, you want to talk about it, you don't understand something about cooking, that's okay. You can talk to us on our Facebook and our YouTube. And then if you want to follow along on our Instagram, I know YouTube's growing like crazy. I think we're up to 15.
Yeah, well, if we had a better promoter, but really the thing is, and that's people ask me like, what's the correlation between cooks and cars? And I was like, it's not even just that. It's, and Paul and Jules, like the perfect example.
Absolutely.
It's a lifestyle thing, right? People get on their egg. It's a family thing. They do it with their children. They do it with their neighbors. It's like an event. And in today's world, when there's really, there's not a lot to do. And I mean, time is precious. It's what are fun things that you can do? And that's the amazing thing about the automobiles as well. I mean, sure, you drive your Honda Accord and get to work every day, and there's really nothing that exciting about that. But, you can have a toy car or some kind of novelty car. It costs you $2,000, or you could have one that costs you $20 million. But it's the same thing. It's taking them out to car shows. It's going to events. It's finding other people that have similar interests. And that's really, that's why why I got an egg. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you talk to somebody who has a cool car and you have a cool car and y'all start talking, talk to somebody who has an egg, you have an egg, I mean, and look, before I met Bruce, I just didn't think, I had no concept that people would like go out on a Sunday morning and bring their cars out there and then talk to, 20,000 strangers.
Yeah.
And I mean,
well, the first time I ever went to a Caffeine and Octane was when it was over by the avenues, and it was literally snowing that morning. And we were out there walking around and looking at all the cars, and the place was packed. I was like, this is nuts. But hey, real quick before we head over, we were talking about Paulie, Big Paul, and Paulie Strong, and we want to make mention that if you donate something today or throughout the week, I guess after the show, we'll match that as well here on Cooks and Cars. So.
Yeah, anything donated from anybody who's watching right now, and we'll get with Paulie and he'll know anybody that donates anything to them. Between now and our show next Saturday, Cooks and Cars will match any of those donations. So really, I mean, just an unbelievable cause. I had no idea about any of that. And it just, if you have kids, you don't have, I mean, it just touches you. I mean, it's just, you go to that website, paulystrong.org, and, you'll just see it. I mean, it'll bring tears to your eyes. So we want to try to help support there too, and really help raise awareness. So anything we can do, that'd be great.
All right. So our next guest is the CEO of Caffeine and Octane, Bruce Piefke. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, we're excited because tomorrow is a big event going on here locally, and then you'll see some of that. I'll cover it with Cooks and Cars and Merlin Auto Group on Instagram, doing some stuff because Adam's going to be out there with a few of his cars. What cars are you bringing out to the show?
Well, you're going to have to come to the show and check that out. But Bruce was kind enough to give us an opportunity to kind of sponsor the classic exotics section, or tell a little bit about what we're doing.
Yeah. So every Caffeine and Octane, we try and do a different feature. And I just came up with this idea of, doing classic exotics, which everybody enjoys, looking at. And of course, first person I thought of was my friend Adam Merlin, who has probably as good a collection as anybody I know. And thought that he could anchor that for us, and it would inspire some other people to bring their cars out. So yeah, we're excited.
And you've had pretty good response, right? The RSVPs have been pretty big, and
definitely.
Be a lot
if the weather's good,
right.
As those cars don't crank up as easily when it's 30 degrees outside.
Oh, that's right. And we're kind of weird, like
neither do my old bones.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, it's amazing. I had one guy who was working with me one time, and it was something I was like, I don't want to drive that. It's going to rain. He's like, you do understand? Like these cars, they're made out of metal. Like it's okay to be like in the rain. And I was like, yeah, it's a good point. Why people talk about like the car's never been driven in the rain, in 1965 car, I can guarantee you it's been in the rain.
Yeah,
that's a fact. But the thing that amazes me, when we were talking about it is, classics, right? So classics mean something different to everybody.
Sure.
Right. I mean, I was like classics. So you're talking like 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and define classics. I mean,
when it comes to exotic cars, that might be anything out of warranty.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Right. Right. Frame off restoration on my 2015 California.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And we kind of did the cutoff at 1999 just because there've been so many technological advances since then. The cars prior to that, are just
I feel old.
They're classics.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful. The designs just they don't go out of style.
Well, I think that's really when we think about classics, at Merlin Auto Group, or when I think about it just from the car standpoint, it's more of an analog car,
sure.
Right? If it's a car that you actually need a technician who knows how to fix a car to work on. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the guys working on the newer cars, but they're just computers. I mean, there's, something's wrong with my car. Well, I plug it into the computer and figure out what's wrong, know? And I think with electrification and autonomous vehicles, the classic is going to be, it's going to be a 2005 here soon, I mean, it's just all the stuff that
hurts,
but it's just, it's these cars that are just, much more analog and they require much more driving input as opposed to push a button and and
Yeah, if you're old enough, you remember when cars had keys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No. I mean, it's funny, but
What?
you know,
What?
yeah. Look, I mean, I had a car that, you know, I bought an older BMW that I thought was cool from like back in the day. And, you know, I pushed the little button and the thing went down and there was a tape deck. Yeah. My 9-year-old was like, what is that?
Right.
And I was like, God, you know, that just doesn't seem like that long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But talk a little bit, you know, I mean, I don't want to harp on COVID, but,
Sure.
you know, how has that really impacted the car show world? And, you know, for us, a lot of our clients are collectors and enthusiasts, and it's been a real opportunity for them to enjoy their cars more because they're at home. There's really nowhere to go. You know, they can put their son or their daughter or their wife or themselves in the car and go for a drive.
Sure.
Right. But from an event standpoint, it's been a little challenging, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, starting, you know, in March, like everybody, you know, we shut down, and we were shut down March, April, May, June, and then we opened back up in July. And, you know, we weren't sure what to expect. I mean, we're fortunate. This is an outdoor event, and there's plenty of room to social distance, and there's always a nice breeze, and, you know, and people are being safe. But boy, was there some pent up demand. You know, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I thought maybe we'd have half the normal crowd, and it was probably 120% of our normal crowd.
Wow.
And really, ever since then, it's been that way because, you know, there are, you know, car guys like to drive their cars. And, you know, one of the things I'm the most proud about, y'all touched on it earlier about Caffeine and Octane, is how it brings people together. You know, people, and I like to say, people that wouldn't even make eye contact on an airplane if they're sitting next to each other will have a long conversation at a car show if they find out they have that in common. And that's what you see. I mean, relationships are made, friendships are made, so much community, the car clubs and how people connect, you know, just like over, you know, the Big Green Egg, they connect over cars.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. It really is. It's truly a lifestyle. So Bruce, give us the history on how this got started and where, you know, because it's got to be like one of those things like, you know, I kind of want to get together with my buddies and, you know, it ends up being, you know, 2 cars, 5 cars, 10. How did that snowball into what it is today?
Sure. Well, it really started, I guess, about 15, 16 years ago now. You know, Mark Ritter, who is a Porsche guy, Delta Airlines pilot, you know, he just wanted to get together with some buddies, and they met up at the Panera Bread up at the Avenues in East Cobb, and that was the beginning of it. You know, no social media back then, you know, but car guys have always been connected in some way, and word of mouth spread, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and finally so big that they got thrown out of the Avenues. And then it bounced around several different locations around North Fulton and East Cobb, and eventually, Mark, you know, who always says, you know, I love my job. I love being a Delta pilot, and this is becoming a lot of work. And it was, you know, your phone blows up constantly, you know, as you get closer to the show. And, you know, and he struggled like most of, you know, people that do cars and cover, they struggle with how to monetize it. And so he was unfortunate that at that time, Auto Trader was actually looking to kind of expand what they were doing, and they purchased it from Mark. And then Auto Trader, just by chance, you know, they were at the Georgia World Congress Center, and the general manager down there said, listen, you need to talk to Bruce Piefke. He's the event guy in town. He can really help you with this thing. And for 2 years, I was a consultant for Auto Trader, helping them figure out what to do with what to do with Caffeine and Octane. The plan was they wanted to blow it out across the country, you know, basically convert all the cars and coffees that are out there, which are thousands of them, to Caffeine and Octanes. So for 2 years, we developed that plan, but then, you know, big corporation, you know, things changed, you know, new leadership came in, and after about 2 years, they said, you know, we don't know what to do with this. Would you like to buy it? And I thought long and hard about it, and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so that was about 6 years ago now that I purchased it. And, you know, fortunately, I'd been on their payroll to figure out what to do with it. And I immediately—
That's on their time, not yours.
Right, exactly. And immediately moved it to Perimeter Mall because I knew it, you know, it needed a bigger space, a place to grow. And fortunately, you know, timing is important in any kind of business or life. event, Mercedes was moving to Atlanta about that same time. So they got behind it and were my first big, supporter, and that made it financially viable. And then, a lot of people, I always say people are much more comfortable being second. So once RBM and Mercedes was in, then BMW followed and Porsche followed. And, now I have a great group of supporters, including my, good friend Adam Merlin here at Merlin Auto. So we've been able to make it financially viable. Then my vision was, what I loved about Caffeine and Octane were the stories, the people. The cars are awesome, but the stories behind the cars, and how it brings, grandfathers and grandsons together, and mothers and sons. You wouldn't believe how many moms bring their sons to Caffeine and Octane. And, the stories behind that really caught my attention. And that's what really birthed the idea for the TV show. Was we wanted to do something a little different. We didn't want to do a build show. We didn't want any fake drama. We wanted to tell the real stories of real car guys. And so the TV show, we're now about to start filming our 6th season this spring, and it's been very successful. It's shown in 65 countries worldwide. So, we get fan mail from all over the world. And you realize when you're talking to somebody in Egypt, it's like talking to a guy, that's your next door neighbor when you start talking about cars. So
yeah. No, I mean, and really, it really is amazing. Even on our side of the business, it's amazing how, if somebody's interested in a car, they want to know the story with the car. Whose was it? Where'd you get it? How long did they have it? What did they do? And, and that means so much. And, it's history. I mean, it's history, and people love to know that. I mean, that's the one thing we do when we're vetting cars is, a car that has a rich history. We call it a pedigree, but it means so much more, and it makes the car so much valuable. And again, I was shocked at how many people would go out. I always thought it was the guys, that would buy their $2,000 car and build it up and modify it and do all these, funky things, that like are literally in their garage, and their little group were the people that would go to car shows, but it's not. I mean, it's a family event, and I mean, you can see cars that are, worth $100 and cars that are worth $50 million out there. I mean, it's just
exactly. And I like to say, and Caffeine Octane has kind of bridged that gap from, you have your enthusiasts that live it and breathe it. And then you have just people that just enjoy cars,
right? Right.
And I like to say, cars are like music, right? Mm-hmm. The music that when you were 16 and you put that key and you cranked that car, whatever music was playing that year,
right?
that you got that freedom. Right. That's probably your favorite music today.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I still remember the song I was playing the first time I got my car by myself after I got my license.
Lawrence Welk?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Rob's the funny one, clearly. No, but it's true. I mean, it's really, it's
so people just enjoy seeing, one of the biggest thrills I had was when I saw we did a station wagon feature, and these 3 or 4 beautiful country squires came rolling in. Uh-huh. And I mean, it just took me back to that moment of sitting in the way back.
Yeah.
Called it. But the death seat.
It's exactly what it was.
But it's like amazing. It's just like clothes. Everything goes out of style, comes back in style. Like there was I speculate that there's going to be a time when like minivans become cool, right? Right now, like everybody's the dreaded minivan, but oh my gosh, I had that third child. I have to get the minivan. Back in the day, station wagons were not cool. Now, I mean, there's enthusiasts group behind. Now, listen, you.
My son owns one.
You could, right. That Volvo thing, but that thing's cool. I mean, I saw that for the first time last week. I was like, wow, that thing's sweet.
When he came home with that thing, I was like, a station wagon? I'm like, but it's kind of cool looking. It's,
look, I mean, my wife, she's our controller at Merlin Auto Group, and I bought a E63 S AMG station wagon from Mercedes, and she had to write the check, and it was $100,000. And she was like, she's like, my first car was a brown Camry station wagon. I was like, this is a little different, and it doesn't even have the third seat, so it's like completely worthless as a station. But no, I mean, station wagons have become really something kind of. And that's that's what's so cool about a Caffeine and Octane or a Caffeine Exotic event. You can really go out there and just see some just unbelievable stuff. And I mean, I always say, the car show at the like those car shows where you see all the new cars and what's coming out. I mean, if a manufacturer's launching like a really cool car, that's one thing. But like when you go to a car show like a Caffeine and Octane, and the owners of the cars are there with just such a wide variety of cars. I mean, you cannot go anywhere else and see that many different cars in one place, and that fact, I'm sure a lot of people, just like my family, Sunday's a family day and we want to hang out, and the cool thing is, you may have to wake up early to get out there, but you can go do that and it's enough fun to last the whole day, but then you have the rest of your day to go and do whatever else you want.
Yeah.
So,
and that was really in the beginning, it was, it was kind of dad's time that he could sneak out on Sunday morning and be back before the family. He could even still fix pancakes as they were getting up around lunchtime. So it is, you got the rest of the day.
Talk a little bit about the garage. We were really looking forward to the garage in Sandy Springs opening up and having another destination to go with the boys. And so tell us a little bit about what the plans are for that.
Sure. So, I'm just always looking for ways to just kind of expand the brand. And, the TV show the beginning of the TV show always begins in a coffee shop. And we filmed it around town in several different coffee shops. And people would come from out of town. It's amazing how many people, visit us from all over the country. And they would always ask, where's the coffee shop? Where's the coffee shop? And they, said it enough to where I said, maybe we should start looking for our own coffee shop. My vision was, I wanted an old garage, I wanted that feel. And so a friend of mine that's a real estate agent started looking for us, and we found an old Firestone dealership right in Sandy Springs, just about 5 miles from where we do the event. And, it was just kind of the perfect setting to me. It was an old garage, big high ceilings, 8 garage doors that we could roll up, and a big private room where they used to store the tires. And so it was really that was now probably a year and a half ago. And then our plan was to open up last summer. But then, when COVID hit, we just kind of put the brakes on it for a little while. And now we're gearing back up. And it's just going to be I just want it to be the coolest garage that you hang out in, a great place where people can connect instead of just one day, a month. Now they can connect, every day of the month.
And a full restaurant plan, or
again, because of COVID, we're probably going to ramp up the food side of it, a little slower, but it'll be great coffee. I've partnered with Dancing Goats, here
cool.
in town, and great breakfast and great lunch, and and some dinner items too. So yeah, we'll get there, but it'll be like a micro brewery feel at night. We're definitely going to have beer and wine. So, and maybe some live
Let's hit
music.
the fast forward on that. We need something like that, right? Just a cool place to, especially now, everybody's aching to go somewhere. So that's pretty exciting.
We'll get ready
stuff.
for Ferrari Fridays.
Oh, there you go.
Big bowl of spaghetti.
Look, that's right. Anything we can do.
I'm thinking something cooked on the egg too.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier. It's amazing. Everybody, a huge number of the enthusiasts that come to Caffeine Octane all head out together for somewhere to eat lunch.
Yeah.
Right.
So my vision is they all come to the garage, and we have about, 20 green eggs out there, cooking up some great stuff. And we'll
I like your vision.
We'll keep the party going all day.
Sharif out there, and set it up.
No, I told them when they open, I would love to do the Cooks and Cars car show out there and actually literally have eggs and cars. And, I just don't know what the atmosphere may be with food in public places and, with COVID and all that, but we'll get to that point. And I'd love to do a car show out there and have some fun. And I could bring out my Ford Taurus. I could.
Bring the Jeep, man. That's a classic.
Exactly.
Right.
It's what you call analog.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Hey, where do people get more information?
You can go to caffeineandoctane.com, or, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We've got a great following, and we're always updating it, pretty much every day.
And then today on NBCSN, you got 2:30 p.m. Eastern time.
2:30, it's the premiere. And this was an interesting, one of the things we did because we had fallen behind on COVID, we looked for a remote location, and we were invited by Mecum Auctions to come up to Jefferson, North Carolina. A gentleman named Eddie Vanoy had an unbelievable collection of memorabilia and cars. I mean, it was just probably 150,000 square feet that was just packed with amazing stuff. So it's a great look inside his collection. And then I went along to buy some stuff for the coffee shop, which, got interesting. And so, yeah, it's a fun show. So it's on 2:30.
It'll be good
today.
to see you on there. You
Awesome.
know, I mean, almost everybody in this room's been on that show, but Bruce, and it's his show.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird seeing yourself on TV.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, we got to stare at ourselves here.
Yeah,
It's a little awkward.
strange, so.
All right, man. Hey, thank you very much for coming on.
It's great
We
being
look for
here.
great things in the future, and we hope Cooks and Cars may be the official podcast of Caffeine and Octane.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. There's no doubt. All right. Thank you very much for coming on with us. We do appreciate it. Real quick, before we head out, I do have a special guest coming on. Ian Beckles used to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day with Bucko Bruce, the old orange uniforms. But today, obviously, they got the big pirate ship out there, the new uniforms, and they're going to play in the big game at their home stadium, which is pretty cool. We'll have to see how that all turns out tomorrow because, Tom Brady's looked like a great guy, older guy. It's like the old guy versus the young guy. Yeah. And we wonder how that all turns out, but we'll see. All right. Let's see if we could bring him on. Ian Beckles joins us on the line. Ian, welcome to Cooks and Cars, man. Thanks for coming on with us today. Oh, looks like he's getting set up there. Hey, Ian, if you can hear me, make sure you got your mute button off so you can hear us. There we go. I can hear him now loud and clear. Ian, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, real quick, a Buccaneer back in the day. You look like a football player still to this day, man. You look good.
Yeah, I don't want to look so much like a football player. I'm trying to get away from that, but wings and hamburgers have a little bit to do with that,
Yeah, you still got your big green egg, by the way?
I have 2 big green eggs, actually.
I like that.
Wow. Do you have
Yeah.
the blue one?
I actually had 3 and somebody stole one because it was a small one, but I had an XL for probably 16, 17 years. And then I did a radio show with Ray Lampe, who was Big Green Egg's spokesperson for many years. And we talked about the Big Green Egg almost every show that we had on the bone for a while. And they sent me a double XL. So I got a free double XL out of the whole thing. But I've sold many Big Green Eggs throughout my years and never got their money. So they owed me that for sure.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, so Ian, obviously an ex-NFL player with the Buccaneers, the Bucs playing in the big game today in Tampa, a home game. What an advantage for those guys and what a situation to be in. And how's the city handling all this? I mean, it's got to be a big party. Gasparilla's sometime right at this time as well. I remember being down there, but talk about the atmosphere down there in Tampa right now.
Well, I've been to a few Super Bowls. I've been to a couple in Tampa Bay, and I've been to a few different cities. It's not the same right now. I mean, there's a lot of, there's a great feeling in the community that our Buccaneers are in it, but it doesn't have the same electricity that a lot of Super Bowls have. I mean, we were on Radio Row all week long, and it was a morgue. And when I mean a morgue, I don't even know why they even did it. There might have been 6 radio stations there. Literally, you can hear a pin drop in the place when normally Radio Row, it's a madhouse. There's mayhem. There's stars running all over the place, and you're grabbing one guy here, and there's Barry Sanders, and there's Burt Reynolds or whoever it may be. I mean, nobody. And you really didn't hear about a whole lot of parties till maybe a couple of days ago. So it's not quite the same, although, there's still a lot of traffic here, and there's more people than normal, but it's just not quite the same as a normal Super Bowl.
Now, are you going to the game? Obviously, they're going to have some fans in there, and being a media guy still on. By the way, you're on the radio station I started my show on originally, WDAE. Back then, it was just AM, but now you also have an FM station. But that's the station that literally cleared me a 1-hour spot and got me my start.
Well, yeah, I've been here for a while now. People say I play football. I've been in the media longer than played football. So,
That's right.
I've been about 20 years in that building. I jumped over to the Bone at Cox for a couple of years. Now I'm back, and Ron and Ian went for about 17, 18 years. Now it's Beckles and Retcher, myself and Jay Retcher on the same station. We're 95.3, and we're also 620 AM. But, you know, it's I enjoy what I do. You know, they treat me well. They're paying me to talk about sports, and I'll be talking about sports anyways. So, you know, I'm very blessed.
So are you going to the game tomorrow?
Hell no, I'm not going to the game. if I had 2 tickets, if somebody gave me 2 tickets and I can get $20,000 for those 2 tickets, I'll be darned if I don't get $20,000 for those 2 tickets. And I'm the kind of guy, I grew up playing football and I grew up watching football on television. Going to a football game is very foreign to me. It doesn't feel right. Like I like to be in front of my television watching football. When I go to a game, I feel like I'm missing stuff. So, you know, even if somebody invited me to the game, I wouldn't go.
You know, it's funny when you mention that. I've been in the world of racing for many years. So I've been to every race you can think of, and going to the races, you know, do the live broadcast from the event, Daytona 500, the season ending finales, all that stuff. I will tell you one thing. I don't like watching a race live. I'd rather sit at my house, be able to follow stuff online, be able to watch the different angles and all the different spots on the track. And I get more information that way. And I don't know if that's because the media side in me, but I love watching it from my house. I feel like I get more information. And like you said, when you're there, you feel a little left out.
And it's about being comfortable. That's just what I grew up with. That's what I grew up with. And, you know, what's funny is, I don't like going to football games. Baseball, to me, and I watch every Rays game, is boring. I mean,
it's snooze fest for me.
I love the sport, but for God's sakes, it's boring. Like, you go to a baseball game, and I love the pageantry, and everything is great. And then by the second inning, I want to, you know, after I paid $58 for beer, I want to leave, and it just doesn't make any sense. Now, hockey is the best thing on earth live. There's nothing. You know, I grew up in Montreal, Canada, so I don't have a choice but to love hockey. Let's get that straight right now. So I loved hockey before I loved football. Hockey live is, I think, 98 times better than any other sport ever created, other than lingerie football. That's fantastic.
No, but I think I will say, you know, maybe a little jaded, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that never get an opportunity to go. And, you know, once you go, you know, probably the first time you ever went, it was pretty cool just to see, you know, I mean, I'll remember the first time I ever went to a Hawks basketball game. And my dad got us some unbelievable seats to see in person as a, you know, I was probably under 10 years old, you know, maybe probably younger than that, whatever. But, you know, to see how big the guys were, to like see people that you've only seen on TV before, you know, there's so much about that that's just like a, you know, an amazing experience. But, you know, I couldn't agree more. I mean, to actually watch the game, you know, if you're into it for the game, you know, there's no, I mean, especially today's world with the technology in the 4K, 5K, 8K, whatever the TVs where it's like they're in your living room, there's nothing better. But for the lifestyle event, you know, look, I mean, it's amazing how many people, you go to a Falcons game here in Atlanta, it's amazing how many people just go to these parking lots,
the tailgates,
set up their eggs and sit out there with these big TVs and eat on their egg and, you know, and watch the game out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the people you're around, you know.
Exactly.
I've always been the guy. I don't know, for the last 20 years or so. Everybody comes to my house to watch football. That's just my house. My house, you know, was set up that way, and now I have an office here, and it's just it's a real comfortable lounge area. We have a 10-foot by 6-foot screen, high definition. You know, some days on a Sunday, you may have Sean King, former Buccaneer. You may have Martin Gramatica. You might have Michael Clayton. So there's all this football knowledge in the room.
Right.
And it's, if you're a football fan, like I've seen football fans in the room on a Sunday watching football with us with their mouth, you know, agape, because they're amazed at the amount of football knowledge that's in there. So
Well, once again, That's a little skewed too. I mean, I'd rather be at your house watching a football game than right, than sit next to some stranger who's drunk in the stadium getting beer spilled on me and all that too. You know, so I mean, I think there's a little bit about perspective there. You know, my house to watch a football game, it's me by myself. You know, everybody's, Daddy, isn't there something better on TV?
You don't watch cartoons.
Yeah, we're not debating what's going on Sundays. Like on Sundays, my whole life, I don't remember ever doing anything but football on a Sunday ever in my life. I don't if somebody says, "Well, I have an event," it's Sunday. I look at them, I go, "Un-American."
Yeah.
Don't during football
Don't do
season.
that.
You don't have an event on Sunday. What are you talking about? Sunday is for football. That's it, and grilling.
That's right.
And racing. I got to stick with the racing, bud.
That's all good. I went to Daytona one time with my boy from that owned a grill store, actually, which I got my green egg from, and I went there for 3 days, and I didn't watch 1 second of racing, but it was a fabulous time. How about that?
Yeah. There's no doubt. All right, hey Ian, I got to ask a serious question though about football and today. You know, the hits, they're not the same. What are the old guy, you know, the older guy, the football players from back in the day that used to, you know, it was full on contact. You got the, you know, smash the quarterback if you wanted to, you know, the tackling's a little different now. What is your thought on football today?
Well, I would disagree with you here. The game has not changed. It's officiated differently, okay? Because there's still safeties, you know, decapitating wide receivers, but then you got to pay for it. You know, there's safeties that are in the Hall of Fame that made money doing that. John Lynch couldn't play today. He just couldn't play. That was his thing. You can't intimidate as much, but there's still guys that I don't know how you think a football player is going to play a certain way their whole life. When you go to a Pee Wee football game and somebody comes across the middle and you hear what's making that sound? It's your helmet, okay? So when I hear people talking about, well, we got to take the helmet out of the game, you've never played the game then, because I played football from 7 to 31, and you can't hit somebody hard without your helmet. It's impossible. If Mike Allstott's running at you with his head 3 feet off the ground,
that's right.
How are you going to stop him without your helmet? So let's stop talking about taking the helmet out of football. Okay, it's never ever going to happen. You know, there's actually a rule in the rule book in the NFL that a running back cannot put his head down and initiate a blow. Take it out. Okay, it's disrespecting the game, and the game is a lot different than what I played. But it's more about the rules. It's more about, you know, you're not allowed to hit the quarterback that hard. Although we still see it, we just see penalties, and then we're just seeing, you know, it messing up the flow of the game. Every time the quarterback puts the ball in the air, there's a flag. You can't cover somebody that runs a 4-4 or 4-3 without touching them. Yeah. So it's gotten to a point where the rules are so almost one-sided. It's ruining the game a little bit.
All right. Hey, Ian, where can fans find you online, and where can they listen to you every day?
Well, Beckles and Retcher, 95.3 WDAE. We're on from 3 to 7, Monday through Friday, also 6:20 a.m. I have a few podcasts myself. I have In the Trenches is a football podcast. I have a cannabis podcast that I do on Wednesday. And Flavor in Your Ear is kind of turned into government. It started off Kardashian-like, and it turned into government, because who the hell wants to talk about the Kardashian when our world was crazy crap like we're going through. And then as far as social media, I'm an Instagram guy at Ian Beckles, and you ain't gonna find nothing political on it. You're gonna have some food pictures and some places I've been, and that's about, you know, some radio stuff. So I'm pretty simple.
Awesome, man. Well, any prediction for tomorrow?
Lots of points, and probably one of the more exciting Super Bowls in history. And I'm just crossing my fingers the Bucs figure out a way to score one more point. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Ian, thank you very much for joining us. Do appreciate your time this morning.
Anytime, brother. Be good.
All right, take care. Ian Beckles, ex-Buck player and radio guy now. And again, on the radio station that I started at, which was pretty cool. I remember talking to those guys and them being able to clear me 1 hour. I just wanted 1 hour show, and they did it. And it ended up being a 1 hour show locally in Tampa, and ended up being syndicated on almost 400 radio stations in 177 countries. Pretty cool. Thank our guests, Big Paul on the grill, Little Jules on the grill, and they're great stuff. And don't forget the foundation, paulystrong.org. We'll match anything with Cooks and Cars here today that you guys do throughout this week, and we'll get with Paul on that so we can take care of that. But for a good cause, obviously. So great stuff. And I want to thank Bruce Piefke for joining us. Bruce, thank you very much for coming on with us. And we can't wait. 2:30 Eastern time today, NBC Sports. We can watch Caffeine and Octane, and then tomorrow the car show. What time's all that start?
Well, officially it begins at 8 a.m., but there'll be guys showing up at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, I know that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. And then, Adam, you got some stuff going on there tomorrow as well.
Yep.
So.
Yep, we'll be out there. So come see us at the show, and have a few cars out there to show you, and it'll be exciting. Beautiful Sundays. Weather's supposed to be good, so we're looking forward to it.
All right. Thank Ryan back at the shop. For Adam Merlin, I'm Rob D'Amico. Thank you so much for watching Cooks and Cars. We'll see you next week.